let's start. Just give me a moment. Screen. Screen. Okay, here. Okay, tell me if you hear me and if you see my presentation also moving.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, thank you. So, thank you very much for inviting me. I will tell you, as Thiago said, a little bit about funding opportunity in European infrastructures. For me, it's not always easy to speak about this topic because there is no much formula to obtain funding, to acquire funding when you are a researcher. It's always a bit tricky to stay in this world. So I will try to transfer what I've learned during my experience. Before of that, of course, I will give a little bit of background of my career and what I am. In this way, you can better understand my path. So, as also Thiago said, I'm a biotechnologist. I got a master's degree in industrial biotechnology at the University of Naples, working in biochemistry on prospecting on new lipases from marine environments. And then in 2014, I started my PhD at the National Research Council, working on antimicrobial compounds from uncultivable microorganisms. Then after the PhD, I joined the innovation consultancy company, where I supported academia and companies, so universities and companies in the acquisition of EU funding from European Union. And after more or less 2 years, I joined the Stazione Zoologica as postdoc in marine biotechnology, working on the discovery of novel marine microbial compounds. And since 2023, I'm a permanent position as a research technician at Stazione Zoologica, mainly responsible for mass spectrometry facility and continuing working on marine natural products. So just to explain you my approach in the past and also now, follow this by discovery pipeline, which starts from the collection of environmental samples, the isolation of microorganisms, in particular bacteria, identification of these strains, integrating the genomic approach, of course, cultivation the strains in different conditions in order to express novel molecules, extraction of metabolites, screening for the several bioactivities, purification and identification. So, as I told you, both in the past and currently, I'm involved in the whole step of this pipeline. And during my PhD, to learn all these skills, I had the opportunity to work abroad for several months and in a startup during the PhD, so in a startup in the Netherlands, or spending 4 months at Geomar Biotech in Kiel, doing structural elucidation compounds, then a sampling campaign in Faro, Portugal, and also metagenomic analysis at the ESEMB. And also attended in many different courses and conferences. I'm telling this because I had the opportunities to do all this experience thanks to the participation and acquisition of several funds, prizes, and grants. And I will tell you more in a bit. After the PhD, I was in the situation that many of you maybe already had experience or will have in future. So what to do after PhD, industry or academia, for example? There are two main choices. Actually, I selected the industry. So I joined the P&O, these multinational companies, as innovation consultant. And the P&O is a multinational company present in more than 7 EU countries. This picture is old. My work there was supporting university, companies, association to apply for EU and national funds in relation with highly innovative scientific, but also non-scientific projects. So main responsibility for me were the project management, the coordination, the proposal writing and preparation, building the consortia, building the budget, and also doing activity of dissemination and exploitation, such as stakeholder analysis, market analysis, business plan. So many different stuff. And I acquired experience in three main aspects of the EU project and in gaining funding, which are, of course, the grant writing and management, the project implementation in the lab when the proposal is funded, but also I work as an expert evaluator for the European Commission, so evaluating, for example, Horizon project. Now, this slide for me is the core of the project of the talk. There are some grants that are ideal during your PhD, other that maybe are ideal after the PhD, and it also depends from your position. Career position, I mean, career time, and also from the scale. I just want to tell you that there are plenty of opportunities for, especially for early career scientists, to get funding or to do experience anyway in many different fields. For example, let's make some practical example. There are travel grants for conferences. I mean, the conferences are very important. I also suggest you to participate because for several reasons, you are updated. You are always yes, updated in your field. Okay, you know the most important technologies and advancement in your field. You know the important people, the best researchers that work in this field. You do networking and you learn how to communicate with the others. And to participate in the conference, maybe sometimes you don't have enough funds. So if you do on the website of the conference, many times they do they have travel grants. So in these travel grants, you have to demonstrate, to apply to these travel grants, you have to demonstrate that your project and your motivation is in line with the conference, and you will gain some positive benefits to participate for participating in the conference. And I'm sure that you will have high opportunity high chance to get funded. Then there are another aspect, another tool, we can say, tool is a bit minimal, but it's a way to do experience in other laboratories and to learn the use of novel techniques and approaches, which are the transnational access. I will tell you more in a bit. They are promoted by research infrastructures. Research infrastructures are institutions which have a common mission, common vision, which join the efforts and offer services to the applicants. So services means also, I don't know, you don't have electron microscopy, but you need for your project. You can apply, explain why it's so important that you use that technologies, that approach. So after writing a very short project, 1 or 2 pages, you have chance to get funded. You can spend a period, a short term, usually from 1 week to 1 or 2 months in another laboratories, even remotely. Then there are some research and travel grants promoted by scientific associations. It means that if you are a member of some association, they have dedicated funds for the members, and you can apply. For example, I am a member of a microbiology society, so I can apply to the travel grant, the research grant promoted by the society. And you can choose a laboratory in Europe, usually outside your country, and spend a short period there, always after writing a short proposal. And then we have more structured projects and grants, which are individual fellowship that you can use in both phases of your PhD. For example, I mean, before your PhD, during your PhD, or later on as a postdoc. For example, I used the DAD. It's a short-term grant that allowed me to spend from 1 to 6 months, in my case 4 months, in any research organization in Germany. So they pay you a salary and above your really contract with the PhD or your university, and then you of course report all the results that you obtain. So at the beginning you contact those institutions, write a project together with them, explaining why also it's so important that you get this funding, because in that country, in that organization, they have this facility that you need to use. You develop this project, submit the project, and you can get these funds. Then we go to another scale. You see the amount of money. So we go for a few thousand euros per month, up to more than 1 million. In this case, the ERC, the European Research Council, is a EU grant which allows you to establish your own laboratories. So they give you 1.5 more than 1 million of euros to in 5 years to establish your own lab and to conduct your own research. This one in particular is really competitive. They invest in the principal investigator, so they want a great CD and breakthrough ideas. So until now, I told you about possibilities, a different scale, also different amount of money that early career scientists can use to develop their ideas, of course, and all this invest in the UN person. Okay, instead we have another scale, so more than 2 million euro. These are big EU projects like Horizon Europe, EIC like programs. So these are programs that allows consortia to put together the efforts and produce some very innovative approaches, produce novel molecules, novel compounds which reach the market. They are also very competitive, but are collaborative projects. So it means most of the time you need 3 different countries, 3 different organizations from 3 different countries. This is the minimum eligibility criteria to apply for this, but usually they have an average of 7, 8, 9 organizations inside. And you can ask from 2 million up to 20, depends from the call, of course. So as you see, there are many opportunities at different stage of your career, of course, which require different skills and expertise. But what is important is that, according to me, there is a general path that you can follow. Okay, independently if you are dealing with a travel grant, a submission for a travel grant, or a big EU project. The path process that you have to follow is the one which is showed in this slide. So you have to generate the idea. So you have to think very well about your idea, shape your idea, then find the right funding program, because as I told you, there are many funding programs, and of course depends from many things. So you should select the right funding program, then develop the proposal, of course, submit the proposal, manage the grant, conduct the research when it is approved. Now let's focus on the first 4 steps of this process, and let's tell more about this. So generate the idea. Of course, you have to think about the main concept behind your idea. So you should shape the real core and why it's important. Should demonstrate why it's important, which has the impact that your research could have on you, of course, and all your research, your career, and all the society, environment, depends from the application, for example. And you need to do a very carefully literature research to see in how to position where is your project in the state of the art. And you should go beyond the state of the art. It's very important. All the proposal will ask you to go beyond the state of the art. You should demonstrate that your idea is a little bit different from the others, and always go for innovation. This is the first thing. And finding the right, of course, funding programs. For sure, you have to learn which are the main funding programs that are interesting for you. And it's a sort of learning by doing. There is no vademecum. You should explore internet, explore the portal, the EU portal, for example, with all the open calls, but there are many other tools on internet. Make a grand scan, so you select the call for proposal that are more interesting for you. Check the deadlines and the eligibility. Seems an easy thing, but the deadlines, these projects are also cyclic many times. So they have a deadlines, they have different deadlines in different periods of the year. So maybe if a deadline is too close for you, you can select to take more time and apply for the next deadline, so you don't waste your time. Also for the eligibility, not all the programs admit have the same eligibility criteria. Many times they exclude some countries or some regions. They are just focused on the Mediterranean countries, for example, or the Baltic countries. So they accept only postdoc or only PhD. So check the eligibility criteria very early in the stage, and check the administrative documents and budget. Again, since a very stupid things to say, but it's not, because from my experience, one of the things which hampered in negative the submission of a proposal was some a bureaucratic document, administrative document. For example, the signature of a very important person in your organization, like a director, a CEO of your company. They have no time, and they often to sign from today in one day, for example, your document. But it's important for the eligibility. So check the presence of all these documents at the beginning. Then develop the proposal, and my suggestion is to read the code very well, very carefully, and select the keywords, because the ones that wrote the codes, they already have in mind which kind of projects they want, okay? And they repeated some words, some concepts, key concepts, some keywords. These are important, so you should not miss this concept inside your proposal. It's important. Read the guide for applicant. I've written it twice, not a mistake. Because if you read very well the guide for applicant, for sure you will submit without any problem your application. Because the guide for applicant will tell you step by step all the process that you need to do, all the documents that you need, all the signatures that you need to to submit in a proper way your proposal. And even more important, read the guide for evaluation. This I have written 3 times, because the evaluators which will check, control, and evaluate your proposal, they have criteria. Okay, they will follow a grid. They will follow a guide for a set of criteria, and they will assign scores. Okay, and many times these criteria are public. You can check what the evaluators will judge. And you are if you are smart, you include everything in your evaluation. Then, of course, it's a matter of quality in how do you write the proposal. It's another thing. But at least you have to be sure that you include all the elements which the evaluators will evaluate. Because at the end will be mathematics, a sum of criteria, of scores, and at least you can have more chance to get the funds. And it's a matter of writing and draft the proposal and improve. It's a cycle, so it's not just you write the proposal, it's ready. You should revise it many different times, and be specific in the description of the proposal. What does it mean? That don't be vague. Many times you cannot say, for example, the aim of my project is to develop bio-based products. Okay, you should say that the aim of the project is develop a number, so I don't know, 10 new bio-based products produced by different bacteria, which have different kind of bioactivities and applicable in different kind of markets. Okay, you should be really quantifiable and measurable. This is really important for the evaluators. And my suggestion is also when you submit the proposal, register in the portal much time before the deadline. Don't wait for last time, because you need time to familiarize with the portal, check if you have all the documents. Sometimes, of course, you read the guide for applicants. There is almost everything, but the portal has some fields that you need to fill, and maybe this could hamper your submission because you waste other time. So familiarize with portal, register in the portal much before. And if you can, anticipate your deadline at least 1 day before. Of course, is another very stupid thing to say maybe, but many things can happen in the last day of your submission. So be sure that at least you uploaded a proof version, even if it's not definitive version of your proposal, but upload some days before, because most of the time you can overwrite that proposal. So be on time. That's my point. And coming to the research infrastructure, this is one thing that I will stress today, because according to me, also my experience, they are very important and relevant tool, manageable from early career scientists, and there is an high gain. After this, the use of a research infrastructure. Okay, so these infrastructure are facilities that provide resources and services for research communities to conduct research and foster innovation. Okay, they offer services. One of the most important and known in the marine environment is the MBRC, which is the European Marine Biological Research Center. It's a very important, is an infrastructure for fundamental and applied marine biological and ecological research, enabling discovery, innovation, and sustainable use of the sea and its biodiversity. For sure, you will know it because you are in the marine side, of course. But maybe not always you are aware that you can use their services. So the strategy of the MBRC is fostering collaboration between researchers, industries, policymakers, marine station to have an impactful research, foster collaboration, and publish. This is also matched perfectly the objective of PhD students, for example, early career sciences in general. And of course, should be an impactful research to respond to the important global challenge. And MBRC, just to be more precise, the headquarters is in Paris. There are 10 national nodes and 21 access sites in Europe for a total of more than 400 services provided. So you can imagine how many opportunities there are, how many services you can use. If we do a focus on Italy, Stazione Zoologica Anton Dohrn is the coordinator of the Italian node. And we have 16 partners with 28 access sites. Which are the services that you can use? For example, you can have access to culture collections, biobank materials, sampling facilities, or you can have access to the mesocosm bioreactor in situ or ex situ experiments. And you can have access to technology platforms such as molecular biology platform, chemical platform, or microscopy, for example. You can have computational help also, because these can be used also remotely. And of course, you will have a training on all these services, which is very important to learn your skills. And a practical example, for example, the MBRC first transnational access. So it means that you can select a service and contact the host institution and write a project with them and apply to this first call, for example. This one is concluded, but please monitor the second access call. by this process, you can have access to a service that I listed you before in one of the MBRC partners. Okay, it means that you have access, free of charge access to selected services. You have a reimbursement of travel, meals, accommodation, of course, up to certain limits, depends from the regulation of that course in particular. And after that period, you can continue working in your laboratories with new experience, new data, you have a new collaboration. So please monitor these research infrastructures. For example, another one that could be also useful for you, the name is AquaServe. Is a research infrastructure services for sustainable aquaculture, fisheries, ecological restoration, and blue economy in general. At the moment, there is an open call for a transnational access. It means that if you go on this website, or if you write AquaServe on the internet, and you go on transnational access section, you will find all the information that you need for applying. Okay, but usually is that you have in mind a project, you check which services are more suitable for you. You contact the host institution, the reference person anyway, and you try to establish with them a short proposal, and you apply. This is an easy application, and you can try. I strongly suggest you to explore research infrastructure like AquaServe, for example. And this one actually opened last November, and it's always open. So it means there is not a deadline. There are cyclic evaluation. So you have time to do. But of course, check the better month to do. So March, July, and November, they are suggested. And this is a not comprehensive list of research infrastructures in Europe. You see there are a lot of them. You can go for example, MIRI, which is a microbial research infrastructure. They have, it means that they all most important microbial collection in Europe. They join forces. They put their services together, and you can have access to them, or you can have access to a open screen. For example, with to test your molecules for several bioactivities, or Instruct, which is a chemical structural chemistry platform infrastructure. So sometimes they have this transnational access, open calls. Other times they don't have, but you can always contact them and try to establish a sort of collaboration, because their mission is to offer services. And now I would like to show you some case studies, so practical examples based on my experience, actually, which maybe can inspire you, or maybe can clarify better the use of this infrastructure, or the how to get funding. Okay, so the first one I did during my PhD, during last period of my PhD. I worked with the isolation of microorganisms for isolation of the identification of novel molecules. And I realized that I needed more knowledge about omics, genomics, metagenomics. So I applied for the first transnational access, or EMBRIC, sorry, which was another research infrastructure with this project, learning from the metagenome, from culture-independent methods to lab cultivation. So my idea was to go to the CCMR in Faro, Portugal, for a sampling campaign in the Faro Lagoon, collect samples, marine sediments, water, and organisms, and go to the ESEMB, which is one of the most important microbial collection in the Europe. This one, and it is based in Germany, to do metagenomic analysis, and then come back to my lab to continue the isolation based on the data that I acquired. And actually, this one was funded, and I was able to do this double access. Okay, it's important that here I have access to two different infrastructures in person. But sometimes you can do it remotely, or also in a hybrid way. So some you can do remotely, some you can do in person. And it is the case of this other project that I wrote, which is IDACT. So the aim was identification of novel marine actinobacteria for drug discovery. I select, so the infrastructure in this case was a MIRI, so the microbial research infrastructure. And I decided to do this project together with the University of Athens and Institute Pasteur. So the idea was to remotely have access to the isolation to bacteria present in the collection of University of Athens. Then I brought these strains with me to the Pasteur to do multi-top MS analysis and whole genome sequencing for the a proper identification of this bacteria. And then I continued my work in my lab at Stazione Zoologica. This was during my postdoc, in order to identify novel molecules. Okay. In the case study that I showed before, we published it at the end of that access. Here we are still collecting producing some data, but there are many data useful for for more than one publication. So I hope to conclude this work soon. Very important to say is that I selected the remote access because for the University of Athens because I already had that experience. So in the isolation of bacteria identification and antimicrobial screening. But I went in person to learn how to use multi-TOF and how to do whole genome sequencing because it was a skill that I didn't have. So when you do this kind of access, you should think that you should invest in yourself and for your professional growth. So learning new things and establishing a collaboration. This is the scope. And another example, this was quite easy. I mean, the amount of money is not such high, so it's 450. I wanted to participate in this summer school promoted by FEMS in Croatia. And so the fee was 400, which covered also the accommodation, the meals, and the flight was very cheap from Naples. It was 50 euros. But anyway, I didn't have this available money. So what I had through the Euromarine, which is a marine research network, there was a grant, individual fellowship, that provides 500 euros for participating in conference and in courses. So I wrote a 1-2 page project explaining why this summer school was important for my career path, and I got this grant, and I participated in the summer school, which was really, really interesting. And finally, as a last case study, this one, if you remember my picture with the different kind of grants that you can get and the different amount of money, this is a big project. So goes in the right part of that graph, and was a European project funded by the LIFE program. The final goal was the development of an in situ remediation strategy for the contaminated areas of Bagnoli. So in Bagnoli, which is an area, marine area in Naples, we have a high contamination of this marine area due to industrial activities, okay, past industrial activities. Polluted from heavy metals and hydrocarbons. So I wrote this project together with the other partners for industries and 3 public bodies, defining novel, innovative bioremediation strategies with innovative technologies based on the in situ bioremediation. We got this project with a total amount of funding of 2.5 million, more or less. And Stazione Zoologica was got almost 1 million. So it was a big project that we are still continuing, and very challenging actually. But this one was a project in collaboration with other partners. So it means that we had the idea at the beginning. We selected the partners which had the best technologies for bioremediation, and we set up the whole proposal together. So with this, I concluded. My take-home message is that you should start applying to this proposal and grants since the early stage of your career. Don't worry if you fail, because it's normal. You try, fail, try again, you will get at the end. It's a sort of learn by doing process. Of course, there is a not magic formula, as I told you. And my suggestion is always invest in yourself and your personal and professional growth. So go to explore other realities, other laboratories. You will learn more. Also, you will do a lot of networking activities, which will anyway will facilitate in some way your future career, because maybe you will have need for a specific partner in future, a specific collaboration, maybe also a letter of recommendation to apply in a position for a position. So according to me, it's very important to do all these kind of activities that I showed. So with this, I'd like to thank you for your attention. And if you have questions, you can do now, of course, and even contact me to this to my mail or LinkedIn or whatever. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Fortunato, for your very nice presentation about different aspects, mainly for young researchers, on how they can get or explore different opportunities, funding, but collaboration, and these things are many times connected, the collaborations and the funding, throughout the career since almost since the beginning of the PhD. And so they can start looking for smaller things, of course, for starting research work, but then later on to a much bigger efforts, but also much bigger endeavors, let's say, because we have a consortium collaborating to a much bigger, much higher scientific objectives. So we have time for questions, curiosities from the people attending. I don't know if anyone is putting questions. You can put the question on the chat or open the mic and do the question. We are not that many people, so there's no risk. Please don't be shy and ask any curiosity that you have or something. Eventually, some of you have already experience applying to different sources. You can also talk about your experience and to relate with the experience of Fortunato. Don't see any question. Fortunato, while people are thinking, eventually, I have a curiosity, let's say, because you had so even considering after the period after your PhD, because I think it's a bit more different. You had a period as a consultant, let's say, and then a period as a postdoc, and I imagine you wrote projects in both positions, but with a different perspective. How was the experience of writing projects with each of the hats, let's say? As a consultant, I imagine mostly writing for others,
Yes.
or assisting others, and then for postdoc, you are writing for yourself or for your team, let's say.
Yeah, basically, this is right. The main difference. I mean, during the consultancy, you write any kind of project based on the idea that they want to develop the others, and so it's difficult. Requires a lot of adaptation capacity, because you have to understand what the other wants, which is the focus of the idea, which is their mission, their vision, and enter in their world, which many times is different from your world. So this one was the first difference that I noticed, even if and another important thing, I wrote project in any different discipline, not only scientific. So that part was the most challenging. And for me, what I missed, and the main reason that pushed me to return in the academia, was the fact that After writing proposal, my role in consultancy was a coordinator, of course, of management and doing other important, relevant activities, but not scientific, not the proper implementation. I missed the proper implementation. No, so what I like now is that I can write the proposal and then do the proposal in the lab.
Yeah.
So the fun, I call the funny part. I miss the funny part. So, but that experience was for me really formative. In fact, as when I came back from the industry to the academia, when they entered again in the research world, I started road projects, of course, like the live settlement that I showed at the end. But this will learn you, will teach you a lot of tools and will give you experience, which in our world as a researcher anyway is important, is fundamental, according to me. So I think also for the guys, for the girls, and early career scientists, which are now here and of course everywhere, it's important to start looking also to these aspects, because you will not have always a lab which is rich and allows you to do the research that you like. So you should be able to get what you want to get.
Yeah, that is an important message. Yeah, because I imagine I never worked on I work with consultancy companies, but never work in a consultancy company. But what I felt during those experiences is that, let's say, the different awareness for the different parts of the proposals, trying to explain the people of academia are naturally much more focused on the scientific parts, eventually on the implementation of the scientific part, not necessarily on the implementation of the project, because we have other aspects besides the scientific part. But we are far from good, to be honest, regarding the parts associated with with impact of the project.
Yes.
So let's say what the society can get from the money they are putting on us as researchers, and the consultancy companies are normally much better from on that part to understand what we want to do with we at the academia want to do with the money, but what is the value of that for the society. I don't know if you have the same feeling, because sometimes it seems that we are very close in our world, and
it's exactly like that. What the consultants can do, I think, in a proper way, is translate what the researcher wants to do in a successful proposal, because they know how to explain, how to communicate, and how to write that proposal and to reach the evaluators. This is the main role of the very important role of consultants in the middle, like intermediate, that can translate the research words in a text which is more comprehensible for the evaluators, which are not always totally exactly expert in the field of the project. So they have to look, they have to have a wide vision. Usually, they are not exactly totally or in the field. I mean, they are not in depth in the field. So the important is to transfer the message, and the consultants can do this better than researchers many times.
Okay, thank you. So, any other questions or curiosities from the people attending? Renata, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Fortunato. It was very interesting, your talk. It's just a curiosity. You have mentioned the network of infrastructure. Are they accessible also to the PhD student, or just through researchers, senior, or the advisor?
The research infrastructures and the transnational access that they promote from time to time, they are taught and dedicated to PhD students. Then also researchers can have access, But the main idea is to foster mobility and provide new skills to the PhD students, early career scientists in general. So are really useful for them. Because in 1 month, maybe you can have access to advanced facilities and do lots of experiments because they dedicated their budget to cover that experiment. So they dedicate their attention in that moment to your experiment, meaning that you can also speed up the process and not wait for a long time. So it's also convenient for them to apply.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Renata, any other questions or curiosities? So in any case, using the offer from Fortunato, if you have, and you notice his email address, feel free to
Yes.
drop him a line and ask for some curiosity, or ask us at the European Society of Marine Biotechnology, and we will get in touch with Fortunato to do the connection. So thanks again very much, Fortunato, for your time and for your presentation or explanation of these important issues, namely for young researchers that are really an important audience of our society. I would like to finish by asking people to check our website, the website of the European Society of Marine Biotechnology, for news on coming webinars. We will organize these in a regular